The worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach, and fitness expert, Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless, and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. This is your chance where I sit down with today's tops in business, mindset, wellness, and success to help you master disruption and thrive.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon.
Welcome back to WholeCEO with Lisa G. Today's guest is living proof that you can rebuild anything and come back stronger, from hitting rock bottom after the military to building global brands and multiplying impact for leaders around the world. Today's guest is a high-performance powerhouse. He's led teams of over 28,000 people, multi-billion-dollar companies, and he helps thought leaders grow profitable businesses without losing their damn minds. He's on a mission to help you lead better, scale smarter, and build a life of freedom, not just a business of chaos. I am thrilled to welcome to the podcast, Jay Jackson.
Hey, Lisa, thank you for having me, and thanks for the warm introduction.
I'm thrilled to have you. Your resume is so impressive to me. I want to talk to you about Burnout to the Boardroom. So, is there a way leaders can scale without losing their sanity?
Absolutely. Like for me, Lisa, it comes from a place where you talked about my background in the military, where, we are always taught task, process, execute, execute, execute. And a lot of times when we transition into being executives within our businesses, we still kind of have some of that mentality because whether it was a job that we worked at or even our traditional school system, where we are trained to just follow the rules, stick with this, you can only show up at this time, go home at this time on your job. Whereas an executive, we have to shift our identity, right? And we have to literally move from being an entrepreneur or being an employee mentality, having that solopreneur mentality, and moving over into what Robert Kiyosaki calls the right side of the quadrant, which is being a business owner and investor. And that identity shift is necessary in order for us to build those profitable businesses well without losing our sanity.
So, is that a mindset that you have to go from entrepreneur to CEO mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a little bit deeper than just mindset. I would just say your identity, like your belief, right? Your belief about who you are, your belief about what you're capable of doing, your belief about what you think the world should look like into the future, right? I do understand that a lot of folks say, hey, you need a mindset shift, and I do
Yeah,
believe there's some things that have to shift in our mentality, but
yeah.
I'm referring to is more on a deeper subconscious level in terms of our beliefs, because it is our beliefs on a subconscious level that determine and dictate our results and outcomes.
Okay, so if we want to shift from like burning the candle at both ends and thinking you have to be on everything on social media all the time to just really working focused and on your business, can we work in just 5 hours a day and still accomplish great things?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I've just discovered that at some point you have to say, what type of lifestyle do you want to live? And then you have to build your business around that. I remember when I first started in the online space and I had a mentor, he was my business coach, and he was talking about, hey, you're trying to build a lifestyle brand. And I didn't understand what a lifestyle brand was at that time. Like I told you, I was an in the trenches, work every day, hard, 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 laptop, attached to my hip kind of guy.
Yeah.
When he started to talk about that, it really helped me realize that once you build a business that supports your lifestyle, it gives you more time and freedom, to enjoy the things that you enjoy, quality time with your family, going out on vacations, or even if you just like to hike or, kayak or whatever the, things that you might love to do. Once you understand, hey, this is the model that I want to operate, I want to go to the gym. So, for example, with me, I have a set schedule. Like everything is still, systematized and routine as far as my day is concerned. And so
Yeah.
my alarm, it's set for 4:45, but most mornings I'm up well before 4:45, meditating, praying. I'll hop up, I'll get me some tea. I do my reading, I do my planning for that particular day, see what's on my calendar, and then I go to the gym. And people look at me crazy when I say I don't have any outside meetings before 11 a.m. And the reason I do that is it allows me to own the first part of my day. And by owning the first part of my day, I'm a lot more productive for the second and third part of my day, where when, sales calls and team meetings and partnerships and all of those things like start to pop up.
Wow. So do you own your day by delegating more and just allowing yourself to have more freedom within your day? Because I really like the way you build your lifestyle and then build your business around it.
Yeah, so the for me the biggest thing is automations first, right? I know a lot of folks out there they talk about the importance of delegation and delegation is important. However, I think you should focus on what can you automate first because what we know that automations don't get sick, automations, don't have car trouble, right? Automations don't have attitudes. And so
Right.
we focus on automations and we try to automate at 100% of your business if possible, but I know that that's not, going to be the case for everyone. That's when we shift over to delegation. The automations allow you to be consistent, allow you to be predictable. It saves time, and it doesn't make mistakes, right? Unless there's a glitch in the initial setup. But once the automations are set up, everything flows consistently and predictably forever. Then you get into delegation. And I know a lot of times folks think, hey, if I just hire a freelancer and tell this freelancer what to do, they're going to be, clear on exactly what I want. But we all know that's not true. Often
Right.
a lot of freelancers need you to kind of hold their hand and give them step-by-step instructions. And so
Yeah.
what we focus on is when we're creating SOPs for our team members to be able to execute, we make sure that the outcome or the result that we want is clear, not just a task. Because oftentimes, if we just delegate a task, when that task is complete, they're going to come back to you and say, okay, hey, I've done that. What do you want me to do next? Whereas
Yeah.
if you delegate an outcome or you delegate a result, you're now able to measure your KPIs and your metrics, and you're able to see whether or not you're on track or you're off track. And if that team member who owns that, whatever that outcome is, you have to make them own that outcome. And if they don't, you now know who to hold accountable or who to praise because they actually got the result you wanted.
Wow. Well, why is it so many of us founders find it so hard to let go of that mindset of being having to do it all, to be able to delegate and set up all of these kinds of systems?
Yeah, well, Lisa, look, do you have kids?
No.
Okay, no kids. All right. Well, for those who are out there listening, it's like having a kid, right? Like
Yeah.
you create something, you birth something, something comes out of you, and once you start to see that this thing is coming to life, right? You either
Right.
start to generate leads, you start to generate sales, you've got some partnerships, and you're like, holy crap! Like this thing actually is starting to get some legs and walk and maybe even run on its own. The
Yeah.
biggest challenge is we want to make sure that our baby is protected, right? We feel like we're
Right.
the best parents. We're the only ones who know what's best for our kids. And look, I've done that even as a parent to my children, right?
Yeah. The micromanaging and all
Yeah,
that.
all of that. But what we have to realize is in order for the business to blossom, in order for the business to grow, the best thing that we can do for our businesses is literally to get the hell out of the way. Hire people who are specialists, hire Now, in the beginning, you're going to hire some generalists. You might hire someone who can, post on social media and edit your videos, right? But
Yeah.
at some point, you have to say, okay, I have to now make sure that I allocate my budget to the point to where I can hire a specialist in this particular role where this is the only thing that they do and focus on because
Yeah.
they're able to create magic because they're laser focused on that one thing because that's their specialty and they love to do that thing sun up, sundown, wee hours into the morning. Whereas if you're trying to do it, clearly you're not as good at video editing, maybe even being consistent on posting on social media, or you're probably not great at setting up automations or writing sales copy. And that's where we have to say to ourselves, you know what? Hey, I've taken my business as far, or I've taken my baby as far as I can take my baby. It's now for time for me to be able to trust some other folks to help me because, like a baby, a business, it takes a village to raise it up.
Wow, that's a great analogy. The business is your baby. I can definitely relate, even though I don't have children, it is like having your business is like so important to you.
Yeah.
So, final question, do you want to share any of your systems that seven-figure leaders need, but few actually build? Do you want to like go behind the curtain and shed some light on what is needed?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me, or at least for me and a lot of the seven-figure high-level entrepreneurs I know, it's how do you manage the day-to-day operations? Like sometimes we have to realize that we need someone who is an implementer, an operational person who can go in and get behind the scenes and make sure that all the pieces are working together, the puzzle is all coming together every day. But then you got to have that visionary, somebody who focuses on strategy, who focuses on high level partnerships and relationships. And a lot of times, the most difficult piece is understanding who's going to play what role. And so,
Yeah,
once you're clear on who's going to play what role, you now have to say, okay, based on our skill sets, what systems do we need to implement, and how can we implement those systems to complement our skill sets? So, for example, I'm not in the trenches, marking off task kind of implementer person. That's not who I am, right? And so it took me a while to realize that because I wasn't good at that, I needed to get out of the way. And so the very first hire that I hired in that regard was I hired a project manager. And in the hiring of that project manager, what I made sure is there's 8 questions that we utilize on an impact filter. And on that impact filter, it allows us to get clear on the results and the outcomes that we ultimately want. And
right.
so hiring that project manager, she then went in, we use ClickUp. She then built out our dashboards, our spaces within ClickUp, and she made sure that the company was more organized. Everyone knew when a particular project was due, what the budget was, whether we're on schedule, off schedule, over budget, under budget. But then she also made sure that our software system, our CRM, which is GoHigh level, she made sure that those two were communicating with each other so that whenever leads came through on GoHigh level, their contact information was automatically transferred over to our project management software. And by having that automated system in place, it allowed us to have a clearer picture, exactly where the business is, where the gaps are, where the bottlenecks are. And it really allowed me to see like, okay, well, this is the next place or the next seat that I need to remove myself from. So the most important thing is just creating systems that allow you to be great at what you're great at, but then saying, hey, I stink over here at this
But
thing,
yeah,
hire somebody else.
I love that project management idea of hiring somebody just to be at that high level overview. Uh,
Mhm.
now, if you have ClickUp, I'm not familiar with that. Why do you need to go high level and ClickUp?
Yeah, so Go High, both are different, have different functions. So
Okay,
ClickUp is specifically for managing your projects, right? So, for
okay,
example, say you have a client project and you're responsible for helping that client, create their automated system. And
yeah,
so with us, for example, we have the Catalyst system, which is an 8-step process where we move our clients from onboarding to having a complete automated system with KPIs and metrics in place at the end of 8 weeks, so we can actually have their business gaining traction so that they can grow and scale. And so with that particular process in our project management software, it allows us to create individual steps so we can see exactly where they are in their onboarding process. Go High Level is more of our customer relationship management program, which allows us to generate leads, process payments, house our membership sites and courses. I mean, there's send emails, text messages, even allow our AI bot to be able to communicate in response to emails or text messages. So each platform offers something different, but the most important thing is to make sure that you have them connected and communicating with each other so that everything is fully synced together.
Well, that makes sense. Thanks for explaining the difference. And your systems are very scalable. And I like that. Where can people find more of you?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Primarily, you can catch me out on LinkedIn, but just Jay Jackson. And you type in Jay Jackson or you type in work less to profit more, I'll pop up. That is the philosophy. I have learned to be a lazy man. And so I realized that the less that I work, the more profit I make. And a lot of times we think profit is only limited to, financial money because it's only primarily used in a business context. But I tell
Yeah.
everybody, you can profit in your health because you have more time to stay active. You can profit in your relationships because you have more quality time to spend with those that you love. And you can even profit, in your local community because you have more money and more time to give back to your church or the causes that you love.
Well, Jay Jackson, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
I appreciate you, Lisa. Thanks for the opportunity.